everybody.
Yes, you know us, Jillian.
And Treasure, Shields Redmond.
With Who Raised You podcast. Oh my God, all this lighting from the window. So we're
glowing,
always
smelling
shining
and popping.
So we just wanted to give you an update about Who Raised You podcast and where it's at. In terms of looking back, we've done a lot.
We have.
There have been times where we felt tired, but in a good way. We won an award.
Yes.
Startup award. We got in some press with the St. Louis Magazine.
Number one podcast in St. Louis. Thank you very much.
And we got an interview.
Poppin'.
Yes, all good things. And what else? Treasure personally has started Fannie Lou Hamer House.
Yes, Fannie Lou Hamer House, retreat space for artists. Check it out.
Yes.
The IG is Fannie Lou Hamer House, all smashed together.
Yeah, and Black Skillet has been doing good things. So Treasure and Dail Chambers, Itshanapa Dail Chambers have really dug into artistic collaboration.
Yes.
It's been a really exciting time.
It has been. And Ja, of course, we collaborated on the last season, which I hope you all love. And we have a fantastic season coming up that focuses on artists in their creation space. So we're really shouting out, as we always have, St. Louis artists, St. Louis regional artists, and creators, makers, specifically the ones who go into a studio to either write, paint, sculpt, that sort of thing, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And something else that we did that was pretty cool is we worked with an artist to commission some really unique portraits. So that's going to come out pretty soon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for each of the artists.
What's the artist's name again?
So Shakerra Monet.
Yes,
but you can
Shakerra
find
Monet.
her on Instagram under S Monet Art.
Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Yeah, she's super talented, and yeah, we always love supporting artists as creatives ourselves, and just knowing that's the backbone of every community. That's also kind of what sets a firm foundation whenever there's change happening.
Yes. Oh, I've got a sound exhibit coming up at the Griot Museum of African American History.
River Stories.
It's River Stories, talking to elder residents about their connections to the Mississippi River, and that opens on Saturday, October 5th. But we've got some really big news. Some really big news. Jillian is now the co-host of the St. Louis, is it St. Louis NPR?
Yeah, St. Louis Public Radio.
St. Louis Public Radio podcast, We Live Here, and it's dropping tomorrow.
Bum, 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 bum. So yeah, Treasure was asking me how it feels, and I feel like it's very surreal. It's like a secret I've been keeping. People who are close to me know that I've started to work for St. Louis Public Radio, but people overall have not known, and at the same time I've been there at St. Louis Public Radio, really getting in the work, working on scripts, recording stuff in the studio. So yes, I am one of the co-host producers of We Live Here for St. Louis Public Radio. It's a podcast that you can find anywhere you get your podcasts. So if you like to listen to radio in the car, you might be hearing some of the promos that me and my other co-host are doing. So my other co-host is and producer is Ashley Winters, and she's actually worked with us on Who Raised You podcast. And so if you go to whoraisedyoupodcast.com, you can check out that written piece about Westland Acres. Super powerful, and just a reminder that if you have a creative practice, work with other people.
Yes, and collaborate with other people.
Yeah, and I would say that's been one of the greatest gifts of this podcast, that me and Treasure have this lifelong friendship now, and
True
that
words.
we know each other. We've got each other's back, and if anything's going down, we'll be like, hey, what's happening here? What's real? So yeah, and we've been able to do really fun things since, from wrapping trees in her neighborhood for Fannie Lou Hamer House, to painting a sunroom. So that's the big news. And in terms of how that affects Who Raised You podcast, when we talked, something that was important to us is to think about what might a year of reflection look like. Even before I started at We Live Here, we've been talking about how we've reached a point where the podcast has